Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Realm of Ori. In this video, we will continue with Volume 14, Interlude 2, The Heavenly Game. And before we start, this video contains spoilers from the Tensura Light Novel. And by the way guys, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon to get notifications for upcoming videos. So without further ado, let's get into the video. This is the record of the war. A heavenly game that has lasted for a long time. Betting on the hegemony of the ground, the demon lord and the hero go head to head. When all is said and done, there have been many direct fights between Guy and Rudra that still haven't come to fruition. So at the beginning of this game, the only rule was no direct matchups. Of the pawns available to Guy, the only one who can take down Rudra is Velgrynd, and conversely, just figuring out how to take Velgrynd down means victory. The same is true for Guy. Enough to take down Guy's character, none other than Velgrynd. But instead Velgrynd thought it would be hard to defeat Guy. The fact that Velgrynd exists to take down Rudra, while being no match for Guy himself, is the reason why Velgrynd sees this game as a disadvantage. Velgrynd, who hated the use of stratagems, was very bad at such meticulous actions that required centuries of preparation. So she dumped it all on Rudra and simply obeyed him herself. Guy is undoubtedly the strongest demon lord, and her sister Velgrynd, the white ice dragon, is also very unpleasant to Velgrynd. She was an opponent like a natural enemy and it was very difficult to win head-on. Velgrynd's attribute is heat. By contrast, Velgrynd's attribute is ice. In other words, acceleration and deceleration are diametrically opposed. If the two sides really went all out, it would end badly. The premise of the so-called complete victory is that both herself and Rudra must be safe. Not realizing that he was afraid of his own, Velgrynd was resentful of the so-called insurance Veldora. As was the case on the last expedition, Veldora was disgusted that his domain had been violated. So as long as one invaded the great forest of Jura, one could not avoid an encounter battle with Veldora. And that's exactly what Rudra was expecting. What matters to Rudra is not the elite legions, but the individuals who go beyond their limits. There were also several survivors who completed the evolution last time. Even if 1,000,000 armies were to be wiped out in the literal sense of the word, just a few awakenings would be enough to make it worthwhile. This was Rudra's idea, and Velgrynd agreed. There will be a few people who survive and complete the awakening this time around. The more characters who are able to become recipients of Rudra's vessel of power, the higher the win rate. I'm really looking forward to it. Velgrynd, who had such a thoughtful mind, was speechless when she learned of the unexpected outcome of the expedition. All gone? It's been a long time since I've seen that look. Please don't joke. With not a single survivor, this kind of defeat was too unexpected by any means. In that case, this purpose of acquiring the awakened one has also failed, hasn't it? Let the generals accumulate as much experience as possible, and at the very least, cultivate a strongman of the near guard knight level. The birth of the awakened from among them again is the hidden purpose of this expedition. However, there were no survivors at all. It's not as good as being wiped out by Veldora, a situation where you can't even say such a thing. Even the several near-guard knights mixed in were nowhere to be seen. Well, it's gonna be. Despite the loss of a legion, it didn't matter at all to Velgrynd. It would naturally be best if an awakened one could be born, but even that failure would not be a problem. If you can literally wipe out 1,000,000 Imperial troops, you can't underestimate the power of the other side. So this time it's that kid's doing too? The reason Rudra was able to know first was because of his power. So Velgrynd awaited Rudra's answer with great trust. Veldora's growth has been a welcome thing for Velgrynd. Getting to grips with how much Veldora has grown is an important thing for Velgrynd. However, it was not to be. That's not true, and what's even more surprising is that I am unable to grasp the details of the situation. Foolish, isn't it? Yet, it is true. The remaining 4 pillars of the Primordials are all on the side of the demon lord Rimuru. If those demons go on a rampage together, there will be no chance of your brother making an appearance. The balance of the game has been upset. In that case, Guy would be bitter too, right? Or, is it just what he wants? Maybe. If that's Guy's intention, I can only admit that it puts the battle at an overwhelming disadvantage. Spending long years building up war strength and preparing for the best possible time. However, there was a figure who could gather a fighting power beyond imagination in a matter of moments. Then again, the thing you can't grasp is what's going on inside the maze. Oh, exactly. It's a great pity that the remaining power isn't enough to break Ramirez's power. Labyrinth Fairy, Ramirez is an inviolable being. As a referee of the game, she's less reliable, but there's no doubt she won't come in and stir things up. Ramirez must have lost enough of her power to be a mediator, right? Yes, it is. Thinking she wasn't a threat, she was put aside, but that guy's maze had always been the best place to hide secrets. Until now, I had been looking through the eyes of Bonnie and Ju. Suddenly you can't see? This is a ploy to make me careless, right? So it is. It's really a lot trickier to say that than one might think. The problem is that there seem to be several more powerful people lurking in the maze. Although the strongest of them is your brother, how far has he been tamed by that newcomer? I don't think he's going to do what he's told, as far as the boy's character is concerned. Not to mention whether or not you can do it, something like using skill to bind him would be impossible in my opinion. In this way, does it seem that Rimuru the Demon Lord has prepared something that will make Veldora do what he says? If something like that really existed, it wouldn't have to be as laborious as it has been so far. Why don't you just ask the Demon Lord Rimuru? We'll have to ask from my own mouth. Well, that's right. It's very gratifying to have come to the same conclusion as me. Now is the perfect time to make a move. The more our ploy fails now, the more careless Guy will be. A patient demon like Guy must have thought we'd have to wait for the next opportunity. Indeed it is. So far it's all been a deliberate move to never take a chance. It's not a bad thing to act here in one breath, putting aside your hesitation. Rudra is determined to take on Guy. The period of hibernation is over. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Velgrynd will move in and control Veldora with one breath. And ride this momentum to defeat the newly raised demon lord named Rimuru, leading to a full-scale showdown with Guy. Oh, leave it to me. All you have to do is pick up the pieces after I've made my mark. I believe you, Rudra. That's natural. Whatever happens after that, as long as it takes Veldora under our wing. I also came up with an interesting strategy, something that was enough to offset this lapse. Seems like there are other things that would be a problem, but as long as I'm personally involved, it's all right. As a warm-up, how about a blood ritual for those fools? Don't kill these people, keep them alive. Huh, what a surprise. I thought if I had been as gentle as you, I would have given them a death without pain. No, they are a necessity in our scheme. In order to get Guy's attention, another big fight must be started here. That's Kondo's style. The idea of taking advantage of a betrayer is something I would not have expected. Is it not to your liking? It is true, however, that Tatsuya's plan can hardly be called humane. But the reasonableness is unquestionable. Velgrynd loved Rudra, but that didn't mean she liked other humans too. It wasn't disgusting to say the least, nor was she trying to exterminate them, she just couldn't forgive people who did things like betray Rudra. Well, okay, since you can come in handy for Rudra, let's spare your little lives. So, what's Kondo's plan? It's a long story, and it's important to look at the current battle plan before you do that. Well, yeah, there's no point in fighting on two fronts now. Exactly. So withdraw the battle first and delay the attack on Ruminas. As long as you and I can persuade Veldora to come to our aid, whatever happens after that. Just in case anyone messes with it, recall Gladim and them. Can I give it to you? Well, that's natural, so let's quell the rebellion and move on to the capture of Dwargon. Just do that and you'll confuse Guy. The conversation ended in a conspiracy between the two. Velgrynd rose to her feet. This was her time to get real again after thousands of years. And so it was, the tragedy called, The Purge of Red Lotus, was brought to a close.